What's going on, guys? As you know, I'm repping the Living Proof. Just dropped this past week. So you can grab that online. I just wanted to start off with that. Today we're gonna be doing messy scissor cut, and we're gonna be doing like a nice mid to high skin fade on the sides. So let's get into it. We're gonna come in with our number 2 guard, open, so 2.5, and we're gonna knock some of this bulk down. Remember taking our comb, and brushing it into the clipper guard. And because this is going to be a mid to high fade, we're going to bring this first guideline right up to the crown. And that's good for now. That will be our rough draft, and this gives us plenty of room to work with our skin fade. Next, we're gonna come in with our 5-0, make our skin line. So for a guideline for a mid to high fade, basically the point of reference I use is where the corner ends. That's typically where we bring the skin line up to. You know, unless the client specifies they want like a really, really high fade, like military style, this is typically where I run my skin line for a high fade or mid to high fade. Making sure this line's coming straight back, going straight across. That guideline looks pretty even, straight across. Next, we're gonna come in with just our clipper open, and we're gonna start creating our next guideline, going up about 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 inch. Closing the lever. Closing the lever a little bit more. And closing the lever all the way. And you notice how I didn't use the shaver on this skin fade. Typically with blonde hair, it gets, or it looks a lot shorter, so a lot of the times I won't use the electric shaver unless the client says that's what they want. Now we're gonna come in with our number 1 guard, open. So that's a 1.5. Creating our next guideline. Remember, we came in with a 2.5 up here, so we don't want to go up into that. Close it about halfway. Close it all the way. Next, we're gonna come in with our 116 open. So that's basically our number 1. Working right up into our guide where we left off. Close it about halfway. Close it all the way. Next, we're gonna come in with our 1.5 guard open. So that's equivalent to a number 2. Coming right up under our guideline we initially first created. Close it about halfway. Close it all the way. We're gonna come back in with our number 1 guard, open, 1.5. Make sure we get rid of this dark spot right here. Slightly just picking with the corners, not trying to bring this fade up any higher. Just blending out any dark spots that we see. Close it about halfway. Close it all the way. Also come back in with our 116 open. So that's basically 1. And remember, I come back with these guards because this is all the touch-up work, trying to make sure this blend is flawless. So a lot of this is lever play and bouncing around between different clipper guards in order to make this blend flawless. Right now, got the 116 closed all the way. We'll come back in with our clipper with no guard, open. Remember, same thing, just doing some lever play, picking at any dark spots. come in with our trimmers. We're gonna make sure the bottom of this fade is nice and skinned out. As you can tell, our fade is 90% done. We'll just come back in with scissors after and blend the rest of this in. We're also gonna leave his beard too. We're gonna do that after. We're gonna come in and dampen the hair. We're gonna come in with our thinning shears, knock some of this bulk down. That way it makes it a lot easier for us to transition this blend from the sides into the top. Next, we're gonna come in with our cutting shears. Take some of this overhang off. Now we're gonna come in with the 3 and we're gonna open it. So it's gonna basically be like a 4. Just kicking up into this nice and easy. Close it about halfway. And close it all the way. Then we're gonna come in back in with our number 2 guard, open, so 2.5, which is basically a 3. We're gonna work this dark spot right here. Close it about halfway. Close it all the way. Then we're gonna come back in with our 1.5 guard and open it up. So it's basically a 2. Nice and easy. Closing it about halfway. Closing it all the way. Now remember, he hasn't had a haircut in a while, so this hair was really long and we're doing a really short fade. And that's why I constantly go back through all these steps and all these processes to make sure this blend is as smooth as possible. Now we're gonna come back in with the number 1, open. So 1.5. Close it about halfway. Close it all the way. I'm back in one last time on my 116, open, so basically a 1. Close it about halfway. Close it all the way. Dust them off. And we're gonna come in with a blow dryer. That was a lot of hair. Next, we're gonna do the other side. Now we're gonna come in with our number 2 guard, open, and we're gonna work on the back section. Take all this bulk out. Remember bringing our guideline up to the crown. Come in with our 5-0. Meeting our skin line that we put in on both sides. Then we'll come in with our clipper, make sure the lever's open. And make our next guideline about a 1/2 inch to 1/4 inch. I definitely say it's probably more of a 1/2 inch in the back. Typically, in the back of the hair, you typically end up stretching the blend just a little bit more than you do on the sides. Come in with our number 1 guard, open. Creating our next guideline. And as you guys know, I'm working through the same steps. First, I start open, make my guideline, close it about halfway, and then close it all the way. And as you guys know, I do that with every clipper guard. Come in with our 1/16, open. Same thing, like I was saying. Close it halfway, close it all the way. Come in with our 1.5 guard, open. Close it about halfway. Close it all the way. Come back in with our number 1, open. I'll even slightly turn them just to make sure the fade's looking even all the way around. There's no dark spots on either side or in the back. Next, we're gonna come in with our thinning shears. Knock some of this bulk out. I'll go right up into the crown area, taking that bulk out because we don't want this hair sticking out. We want it to lay down when he goes to style it after. And we're gonna come in with our cutting shears. Get any of these overhanging hairs out of the way. Typically, because he's got some crazy cowlicks, we're also gonna come back up and with the clipper and make sure this is nice and short in here in the back. So we'll start with our number 3, open. Just following the way that cowlick grows and eliminating any of those hairs that are pesty that wanna stick out. With a mid fade, you typically wouldn't go up into here, you leave some weight, but with a high fade, I almost always come up into the cowlick area just to kind of help round it out and shorten the hair. Another good tip too, to look to make sure the hairs are even. You can look at this back side, so you step off to the side and look to make sure this kind of rounds up nice and in. And that's how you know your blend is right and everything looks right. Now we're gonna come back in with our 2, open. Making sure we get rid of any dark spots. Back with our 1.5, open. Another little tip too, when you're fading, you want to make sure your fade is good and there's no dark spots in your blend. You have your client look down and then you can look up into your fade to make sure everything looks nice and smooth. So that's another really important trick when you're fading and you're blending. Make sure that blend looks flawless. And that's also where a lot of the lever play comes into play as well. As you guys see me constantly do over and over. The biggest thing though is about training your eye. You train your eye and your blends will just get better and better and better because you know exactly what you're looking for when you're fading and blending. Come back in with our number 1 guard. I'm just repeating these steps, like make sure our blend is nice and flawless. Gonna come back in with our 116, open. Close it about halfway. Close it all the way. Now we'll come in with our clipper, no guard, open. Looking pretty damn clean. That's a nice high skin fade. And lastly, we'll come in with our trimmers at the bottom of the fade just to make sure it's nice and skinned out. This is definitely one of the most important parts when you fade, is always making sure the bottom of your fade is nice and even and very, very skinned out at the bottom. Not only is that going to make your fade last, but it's going to make your fade complete. come back and check around the ears just to make sure there's no hairs around the ears. All right, now we're gonna come in, we're gonna wet the top. That way we can cut the top for him and style it up. Basically what he likes to do with his hair is brush it over, but we're gonna cut it short enough so he can either wear it messy or brush it over. So first, like always, we're gonna start in the middle section. We're gonna take about half off, maybe a touch more, creating our first guideline. Remember, pick up the hair, follow that next guideline. Picking up our next section, continuing to follow that guideline. Typically I go shorter in the back too. I know a lot of barbers like to leave this hair really long back here. It's kind of a pet peeve of mine. I like to take the front short and then slowly work it a little bit shorter towards the back. All right, we're gonna cut our next section. Following our guideline. And then we'll come over onto the sides. Same thing on this side. Now we'll come back to the middle. Just to make sure everything's nice and even. Just kind of double check. If you want, you can pick the hair up this way. You can cross check. There's a great technique to do as well to make sure the hair is nice and even. Same thing on this side. Coming back to this middle section, like I said, just to make sure everything's even, I'll go back through, cross check, see if I see any long hair sticking out, and sometimes just to take the hair just a touch shorter after removing the majority of the bulk. I do this as well. So it's good to cross check and also take a little bit more bulk off. That's pretty much the length we're gonna have it at. I'm gonna come in and texture it a little bit as well. Slightly come back in, dampen the hair. You always wanna cut hair with scissors when the hair is wet or damp. Coming in with the thinning shears now. It's important to damp the hair, that way we can make sure the length that we're cutting is true. So we'll grab these sections, texture this a little bit. This is gonna help take away some bulk, but also help give him that messy, textured look. Now that the haircut's finalized, we're gonna come in with the straight razor and just slightly clean up his corners. Make this high skin fade pop just a little bit more. And I'm shaving such a small area. I mean, you could put shave gel, but it's like almost unnecessary. And then I'll also shave right down to where the beard is, and eventually we're gonna blend his beard in, and that's gonna be in a separate video. So we're gonna leave that like that, and then we're gonna repeat and do the same thing on the other side. I like to move the hair out of the way with my thumb, that way I'm not taking any of this hair that's overhanging. Little baby ones that do hang down, I'll slightly grab those. And everything else I leave. Same thing, shave right down here. Right down into the beard. There you go. It's a high skin fade right there. Style them up too. So next, we're gonna come in with some sea salt texturing spray and style his hair up. So this has a really good mister on it, so be careful how much you use and make sure to have the bottle not too close, and I'll show you exactly why. Also, I like to cover the client's eyes as well, because you don't want to get it in their eyes. So I apply a little bit, then I'll use my hands to kind of lift the hair up and mess it up. And this has a very light to moderate hold. So people that like to kind of just get up and go, this is perfect to put in their hair. Sometimes I'll spray a little more. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed this video of the high skin fade that I just did today. And we're gonna do the beard next, so subscribe, thumbs up, and look out for the next video.